My name is Dr. Chad Schmidt. I am the Director of Learning, and here with a fabulous team of International Baccalaureate coordinators. We are going to introduce ourselves as we move through the presentation. So tonight I'm going to try to set the table in a couple of slides and then turn it over to these four amazing folks who are going to talk about the great things that students are doing in the primary years program, the middle years program, and the diploma program. So there we go. Slides should be coming up now, right? All right. So the PYP, again, stands for Primary Years Program, MYP for Middle Years Program, and DP for Diploma Program. The continuum is just a representation that that is when a student enters kindergarten in South St. Paul schools, they are part of an International Baccalaureate program that leads them all the way through the end of their senior year in high school. South St. Paul is Minnesota's first K-12 IB World Schools district, and it's rare that a public school district is part of the entire continuum. So many districts have the primary years program, or the middle years program, or the diploma program. We happen to be one of a small number that have all three programs that help lead a student from beginning through their high school career here in South St. Paul. So the IB Continuum is built off this mission, which is to create inquiring, knowledgeable, and caring young people who help to create a better and more peaceful world through education that builds intercultural understanding and respect. So what you'll hear out of these coordinators is efforts where students are practicing inquiry, efforts where kids are building their knowledge, and where they are being caring in their efforts to make the community and their school and the world a better place. All right, so what makes an IB education different? Here are 6 pieces that stand out that you might not experience if you were a student in a school system that does not have International Baccalaureate as its main programming piece. So in International Baccalaureate programs, we aim to develop the learner profile for all members of the community at all times. So the learner profile, 10 attributes about developing knowledge, about developing international mindedness, about being risk takers, thinkers, caring, balanced, all of these amazing things that we want our young people to be and grow up, and it's explicitly embedded into each of the programs. In the programs, learning is conceptually driven and it's connected, so that we are thinking about not just knowledge for knowledge's sake, but how to use that knowledge and how it builds on other pieces of knowledge. Student-driven inquiry, so students asking questions, curiosity, and exploring that curiosity together and individually is something that makes IB unique. Language acquisition, so starting at the age of 6, students in South St. Paul schools start developing a second language. So Spanish in our elementary schools. When they become middle schoolers, they'll have a choice between Spanish or French, and they develop this through the IB program, so they're becoming fluent in more than one language. The IB helps students actively engage in their schools and communities. So we use this word agency. We want kids to apply their learning. We want kids to think about problems in their community and work towards a solution. And then lastly are these 3 words: transdisciplinary, interdisciplinary, and multidisciplinary. So transdisciplinary, we think about learning of big ideas without the bucket of math, without the silo of history, without the silo of language, that we think about these big ideas across all of those areas. Interdisciplinary is a signature of the middle years program, where we take one or more subject areas, we take 2 or more subject areas and specifically put learning together for students. And multidisciplinary is work of the diploma program, where we kind of have silos. We go deep in science, we go deep in English, we go deep in math, and students have lots of opportunities to connect across those disciplinary areas. So that's a bit about what makes International Baccalaureate programming differently. What I want to do is turn it over to our 2 primary years program coordinators, Chris Bretz and Diane Tiffany. They're going to talk about some of the special things that kids are doing in the primary years program, and then they will hand it off to our middle years program coordinator and our diploma program coordinator. So please welcome Chris and Diane. Thank you.
All right, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for coming.
Yes. I don't know how to switch the slide.
Just put the arrow right here.
All right. So we're starting out with the program model, and each of the programs have their own specific model. And all of them, there are similarities. The IB learner profile is in the heart of the circle. and it is a huge component. Approaches to teaching and approaches to learning are in all of them also, and then it gets a little bit more specific. The outside ring, close to the outside ring where it says sharing the planet, all of those are our 6 transdisciplinary themes that we have in the primary years program, and then the focus on international mindedness.
Before I begin, I want to introduce myself. I'm Chris Bretz. This is my first time at the school board. I'm newer to the district.
Hi.
So nice to meet you all. I'm replacing Ryan Higbee at Kaposia. So a little more about the PYP. It's designed to work with students as young as age 3 up to age 12, but it's flexible. So here in South St. Paul, it's our elementary program, grades K through 5. And as Dr. Schmidt mentioned, it's rooted in the learner profile, so that really speaks to educating the entire child. Academic rigor, yes, but also social connections, learning to learn, learning together. Diane talked about the 6 themes, and those themes are consistent across all of the grades, K through 5. So sharing the planet appears in kindergarten, again in 1st grade, and so on. And those themes advance in complexity and sophistication as the students move through those grades. So it is meant to spiral and connect across the grades. And then some of the really unique things about IB, one of the things about each theme is that we make an intentional effort to connect to local and global issues. So it's learning beyond the classroom, and it connects to the community, it connects to the world, and also leading students to action. So it's not only what is this issue, but what can we do about it? So often that's in the form of sharing learning within the school. It could also be through community projects. Recently I was talking to our 4th grade team, and they were working on a water cycle unit, and then the students became interested in the storm drains on the property and around the property. And they were excited about monitoring those and keeping them free from obstruction. And our kindergarten students in the first days of school are studying community jobs, and they meet many of the people around the school, and they get to tour the school and go down to the cafeteria and see specialists. So again, it's meant to be developmental, and it's meant to expand kids' perspectives on the world, and again, connect them, the learning from the classroom, to learning in the community and beyond.
And we end with exhibition in 5th grade, and it's the culmination of their PYP experience. It's really the most student-driven planner ever because it's choice for the students, and they really get excited by it. It's a lot of work. People get totally stressed out over it, but in the end, they are so proud of themselves because of the work they have done and what they've learned from that. At Lincoln Center, the 4th grade just had a celebration. They ended their first unit of inquiry, which was where we are in place and time. And their central idea, which was the big picture, is we discover our personal identity by learning about our history. So they learned about personal history. They learned about the history of South St. Paul. That went bigger than South St. Paul, but that was a focus of it. And the celebration at the end, where the 4 pictures are, they all had, each student brought in an artifact that had something to do with their personal family history. And so usually the kid sitting at the desk has some type of artifact, and then students and teachers were going around asking them questions. And it was really so fun to hear what they had to say. I mean, one girl had a stuffed toy on her desk, and I'm kind of like, what? Could you explain this one to me? Well, it turns out she'd had surgery. I mean, there was this whole history to it. And she was so proud of herself and able to explain it that it was very moving to see. And I'm always impressed when you get to sit down and talk to the students about what they have done and what they've learned.
Thank you. One of the things that Diane says a lot that connects with me is when you walk into any of our elementary schools, you're already experiencing the PYP. It's not just a lesson that you do and then you move into other things. So it's really meant to be the entire culture of the building and the entire experience. So Diane shared a unit, or one of the themes, and at Kaposia, I wanted to share this alphabet tracing project. So recently we have a team of about 15 5th graders, and they have been trained to work with kindergarten students, learning letters of the alphabet, letters and sounds, correct letter formation, and they take turns during a work period in their day, so they're not missing any core instruction. And so this is a chance for them to build connections across the school. We talk about action and agency, so this is beyond just the lessons that they're doing. So we're really looking for ways to have students live the learner profile throughout their entire day. So we're really excited about that. And of course, the kindergarten students are benefiting from it because they're getting more instruction and more practice than they might normally get. So connections to IB, the learner profile, that connected learning, and the agency action, and also it's a local issue. We want all of our students to be literate.
And I just have to put a plug in for the transdisciplinary learning, because I think sometimes that's the hardest concept to understand. But for me, the important part of transdisciplinary learning is that everything is connected, and it almost gives you a purpose for why you're learning something. It's not because, oh, my teacher said I had to memorize it because I'm going to have a test on it. It's all the different subjects can be connected, and you can start to see how you can use that information in your life outside of school. So I think it really helps students. I mean, I've watched it in many PYP schools to see what kids learn and how they then take it out into the community.
So thank you, Chris and
Is
Diane, and the Primary Years program. So our students have 6 years of experiential learning like this, and then they head off to middle school. And here is our middle years program coordinator, Melissa Miller, to talk a little bit about what school is like in 6th through 10th grade in the International Baccalaureate programs.
Good evening. Thank you for having me here. I'm excited to talk about the middle years program. We also have a program model. You'll see that they're all circles and they're all very similar, but there are some key differences. So for all of them, the student is at the center. For the middle years program, you will see the subjects are circling on the outside, and for the middle years program, students are required to partake in all 8 subject areas each year of the program in grades 6 through 8, and then there's a little bit of choice in 9 and 10. But students do have all 8 of those subjects that are listed there every year of the program. And then in the middle there's the global contexts that align with the transdisciplinary themes of the primary years program. So there's a connection between the programs as you move through. And instead of the exhibition, we have the personal project in the middle years program in grade 10. So what is the MYP? So it is all students in ages 11 to 16. So how that translates here in South St. Paul, it's grades 6 through 10. So all students take part in the middle years program. And it's a framework of academic challenge. So we follow the state and local and national standards under the framework of the middle years program. I mentioned those 8 subject groups. And a key is making connections between subjects, which is our interdisciplinary learning, and I have some slides and examples of that coming up. And also, just like the primary years program, we also make connections to local and global issues to extend the learning beyond just the classroom to real-world examples. And a key is leading students towards action, whether it's just them realizing something they could take action in or learn about something that needs action, or them actually going and doing that action. The learning makes them want to do something to help out and to help the community. And I did mention the personal project, so it culminates with the personal project in grades 10, and even with the pandemic last year, we were able to do the personal project. We weren't able to have the fair, but some of those were showcased on social media, so hopefully you saw some of those, and right now we plan on having the fair in February this year. So one of the interdisciplinary learning units that we've been doing for a few years now, several years, is Biztown. And the goal of Biztown is to simulate real-world work experiences. So students actually apply for jobs, and some of them are mayors, some of them are working at the bank, some of them are working at a radio station. There's all sorts of different jobs in Biztown, and it's in St. Paul. There's a site that it's a field trip that students go to, and it's really neat that they're able to take part in this and apply real-life work situations. It is interdisciplinary, and the main courses that we connect the state standards in are individuals and societies, mathematics, and language and literature. But there are also then kind of side subjects that are also helping out. Our design classes take part in it. Our arts classes take part of it, our language acquisition. So everybody really is contributing to the learning. So that's probably our biggest interdisciplinary learning unit we have school-wide, 6 through 10. And we're planning on, we weren't able to do it last year, but we are planning on doing it this year in December. And the students really get excited about going to Biztown and being able to partake in that. It's a really cool experience. A new one that is actually just starting this year is our interdisciplinary learning between arts and individuals and societies. In individuals and societies, some of the standards are Native American standards in grade 6 in Minnesota history, and visual arts also has standards that align to it, and they have started making dream catchers going back to the artistic contributions of the Ojibwe and Lakota, that this art form took place originally 1600s or before, and it was tied into also kind of the connection with how it was part of like lacrosse. And then they go through all the history of that with the students in visual arts while they're learning about it in individuals and societies, and that's one of our that's probably the newest interdisciplinary unit that we have going on right now. So there's an example, they just actually finished making those just a week or two ago. And then their next step, again, this is tying into those same subject groups, is they are working on wood-style paintings, which was also a newer art movement in the Ojibwe in the 1960s. Gordon Coons is actually a local artist in the Twin Cities that's famous for his woodland-style paintings. So students are learning about that, and then they're making their own paintings there, as you can see in the picture. And then a unit that's been going on for quite some time is a combination of both service learning and interdisciplinary learning. They are making blankets for those in need, so they donate these blankets. And this is with both math and language and literature. So with math, they're learning about area, so they're measuring and figuring out the area of the blanket that they need. And then in language and literature, they're writing letters to organizations to see who needs blankets donated. So they're learning the letter writing skills in that course. So they're connecting those two together. And there's some more pictures of the blankets, and these were from actually a couple years ago just because of last year. But this unit will be coming up here in the next couple months as well for this year. So just some cool, neat things. If we can combine both service learning and interdisciplinary learning, it's great, but it doesn't have to be. They can also be separate as well. And again, interdisciplinary learning is really connecting the subjects, and whatever you're teaching the students is stronger by bringing the subjects together. Like you could teach them in silos, but when we connect them together, it brings a whole new, deeper learning that couldn't be had having the subjects separate.
Excellent. Thank you, Melissa. So what I hope you saw there was this idea of students developing knowledge and skills, applying it in interdisciplinary ways, and taking on that space of caring, creating a better and more peaceful world. So they're taking action with that learning. And so with that gets us through grade 10 in South St. Paul. Grade 11 and 12, we have the diploma program. Coordinator Conrad Anderson will talk a little bit about that and some of the multidisciplinary work that happens there. Thanks, Conrad.
Very good. Thank you for having me in this evening. I'd like to share just a few things we have going on with our diploma program and highlight some fantastic things that some of our students are working on right now. Once again, we have the model as well. When you look at this probably will look pretty similar to what maybe your high school education might have looked like. You know, you had individuals and societies. We used to call it social studies or language arts, science, arts, math. But it's more than just subjects. It's more program based. And one thing I'm really proud about South St. Paul is as students grow academically, by the time they get to 11th or 12th grade, they can start making some educational choices. And we offer a lot of different directions our students can go. Obviously, they could do PSEO. We also offer tri-district. But if students really want to push themselves academically, they can participate in any part of our diploma program. And it's flexible enough so students can choose one or two classes that they want to push themselves in, or they can try to get a full IB Diploma, which we have 12 students this year. That's up quite a bit from the previous years that are attempting that this year. So yes, it is for grades 11 and 12. We want the program, students especially that participate in the full IB Diploma program, not only hit all the academic subjects, but they're also, they also have to participate in a program called CAS, which stands for Creativity, Action, and Service, and that allows for development of other parts of their personal life. Obviously, it does allow for in-depth study in traditional academic subjects. It explores the nature of knowledge. In fact, we even have a course called Theory of Knowledge that students can take their junior and senior year. But all the diploma program teachers are also finding ways to look at their subject through multiple lenses. And so that's something that is unique to IB as well. And then ultimately, students will take, at the end of their study of a course, they'll end up taking an assessment during May of their junior or senior year, in which they can potentially get college credit for some of the academic work that they've been doing. One thing I wanted to highlight this year, so if a student is going to be a full IB diploma candidate, they're taking a full load of IB courses pretty much all day, every day, junior year and senior year. So it's pretty amazing what these kids are pushing themselves to do and how much they know at the end of the program. And to get the full IB diploma, they also have to do three things. They have to participate in our CAS program. They have to take that Theory of Knowledge course. But the other thing that they have to do, which is our culminating project for our program, is complete an extended essay. And this is a 4,000-word research paper. And what the students will do at the end of their junior year is they'll identify the subject that they're maybe most passionate about or most interested in. And then they're going to work, self-select their own supervisor in our diploma program, one of our teachers, and then that student and teacher will basically have a one-on-one academic relationship for the next 18 months to really dive deep into a topic. And so I'm not going to read through all these titles here that we have, but you can see we have a diverse set of titles, from historical topics to we have a science topic in there, we have literature topics, and so they are learning kind of how to tackle a topic that they're interested in, learning how to formulate research questions, doing all the research, doing drafts, revising, doing the final draft. So they're learning the whole process. And I know when I was in college, I don't know if I ever did a 4,000-word paper in undergrad school. So these students are getting valuable experience that, you know, they're going to be able to do those papers, at least when they're in undergraduate school. It's going to be a pretty easy process for them because they've already been through it once in high school. So another part of our diploma program then is our CAS program, like I mentioned before, that stands for Creativity, Action, and Service. Ms. Miller also, besides serving as our MYP coordinator, serves as our CAS coordinator. And what we have is a program called, well, we have honors and then the full IB program. And what that means is if you push yourself to do at least 4 IB subjects or do the full IB diploma, we give you special recognition at graduation, but at the same time, they also have to complete a CAS program, which is going to push them. So a lot of the students I work with usually are really good at 2 of the 3 areas. So they might be athletes and they can do service, but they've never really pushed themselves on the creative part. And then I have, like my son he was really good in the creative stuff and the service, but he did not like to sweat. And so, but it pushes them to become well-rounded students. And then part of that CAS program also is that they have to do a CAS project. And so these are just some examples of some projects that we have of our seniors this year, from one interesting one, and kind of showing the international aspect, was we had a few students do a photography portfolio, not only of our school, but then to work with another IB school to get an experience of, like, what is it like to be to have an IB school in another culture, and how are there things that are similar and how are things different. From food drives, we have donating blankets, releasing foxes in the wild. We have a student that is very active in Scouts, and I think got got interested in that and decided to pursue an interest there in his study with Cass. Youth tennis camps, and we even have a student planning a TEDx event this year as well. So as you can see, there's a lot of opportunities for students to personally grow, and especially those last 2 years of high school when they want to pursue specific interests, they can do that within our diploma program. So with that,
Yes, thank you, Conrad,
Yes.
and thank you to each of these four excellent leaders who, what I hope you get a glimpse of is how programmatically we're trying to support students in developing an inquiry approach, developing their knowledge, and developing a caring mindset and way of being to help create a better and more peaceful community and world. And so you see that through all of this great work that they're doing. So I'm extremely proud of these folks, extremely proud of the teachers that they work with who actually get this to happen with students, and then the work that our students and families do together to lean into the work of being inquiry-driven, concept-based, and action-oriented.